Richard Rodgers with a walk-off touchdown. Total disbelief at Ford Field.
He may go all the way to the 20 down the right side, and it's Randall Cobb to the 5, to the end zone, to the touchdown. Oh my goodness.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Green and Golden Boys, a Packers podcast, a podcast for fans that are happy that Bill Belichick no longer has Tom Brady. I'm Marcus, and with me as always is Charles. Charles, how are you?
Good, how are you, Marcus?
I'm doing well, getting to the weekend, which means it's football time. Excited for this game. I
freaking love football.
I freaking love football, which is why we have a podcast about the Packers. Idiot. Really pumped about it. I think we're excited for this game. Not the opponent necessarily, but I mean it's always Belichick-led team is always a tough challenge. But I think notable, really quick right away. We don't know for sure, but Mac Jones, the QB for the Patriots, likely will not play in this game. There's a chance he can, but more than likely Brian Hoyer, their backup quarterback, and former Chicago Bear, will be leading this team on the offensive side. Let's assume right now that Brian Hoyer will play. I mean, this is an offense that's been struggling a little bit with not only an inability to score points. I think they're only scoring about 16 points a game, which isn't gonna win a ton of games in the NFL. But they've also been giving the ball away a lot. So Brian Hoyer, I think when he's faced the Packers in the past, has been a serviceable quarterback. He's not going to blow your mind by any means, but he usually takes care of the football to an extent. And he's kind of a straight up pocket passer. He only has, I think, like 80 or 90 career rushing yards as a quarterback. So he's not a guy who's going to beat you with his legs. But I don't want to call this a trap game by any means, but this is one of those games where if the Packers win and it's close, everyone's going to be giving them crap and it's like, oh, they couldn't even beat this team, by 2 scores. Who's missing their starting quarterback and da 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 da. But then it's like, if they lose this game, the world is ending. So I mean, I don't know. Do you have to go out and destroy this team and make a statement, or are we happy with just a eking out a win?
Man, it'd be great to make a statement. Wouldn't it be nice to just be like done with the game like midway through the third quarter? I know that's not exactly how it happens in the NFL very often, but it'd feel good. 2 of their losses, are against the Dolphins, who are turning heads right now, right? Mm-hmm. And the Ravens last week, but they put up 26 points against the Ravens. I mean, the Ravens are pretty freaking good. Their win was against the Steelers. I think that was at home for Pittsburgh, so that's always a tough place to go in. So like this is a Belichick-run team, right? So even if their talent isn't there, Belichick is going to have a plan for everyone, and I would not be surprised if this is a close game. Do I feel better that we're playing potentially Hoyer? I mean, I guess, right? It's a guy who didn't get as many reps, in this preseason and so far this season, but I mean, it's not like Mac Jones is this deadly Tom Brady weapon. So, I mean, I think it's still going to be the Patriots, and I think it's still going to be a tighter game than a lot of people expect.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I'm not going to say it's a trap game, but like I feel like we've seen this play out before, where you underestimate the opponent. Maybe there's a big injury like this, and the Packers come out and defensively play soft. We saw it. We saw it against against the Buccaneers last week in that last drive. I mean, everything was just a 15-yard gimme. Our defense was playing real soft, prevent defense. Just bend, don't break. But like, I feel like this is the type of game where I can see that being kind of the philosophy. We're going to play zone all game. No one's going to be manned up, and it just gives Brian Hoyer an opportunity to kind of just dink and dunk his way, death by 1,000 cuts.
The classic Tom Brady move when he was with the Pats.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know. I don't want to see that happen. I want to see our defense play aggressively. I want to see, I want to see them shut down, the weapons that the Patriots have. Not that they have a ton of guys that can make plays, but I mean, Mac Jones threw 3 picks last week, but he still threw for 320 yards. Right. 156 of those yards were to Devontae Parker, a guy who didn't have huge games in the previous 2 weeks, but kind of had his coming out party last week. So I think if we shut him down and we can make Hoyer or Jones, I guess we don't know yet, but like, whoever's playing quarterback a little bit more uncomfortable, I think we're going to have a good day. The offense doesn't concern me that much as long as our defense plays to their potential. What concerns me a little bit more is this Patriots defense. I mean, we know Belichick is usually, defense forward, and they're usually a pretty good defense. Now, right now they're 22nd in the NFL for points, so allowing about 24 points a game, which isn't great. But to your point, they played the Ravens and the Dolphins, two teams that look really good offensively. So, that could just be anomalous. What I'm interested in seeing here is that they're 8th in the league in passing yards. They're only allowing 200 passing yards per game, and I think typically that kind of doesn't bode well for the Green Bay Packers unless we can get our rushing game going. So I'm interested to see how we match up against their defense. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I think, we were both very excited about, Romeo Doubs stepping up and having a big week, and I would love to see him have another big week against this defense, but I think, we're going to see a classic Aaron Rodgers game where it's going to be someone else's game that's going to be featured. And, I know we're not picking our offensive or defensive players yet, but I'm really interested in looking at what Big Bob Tonyan does, because this defense, to your point, wide receivers haven't done a lot of damage to this defense. It's been the tight end position. They gave up like 100 yards, I think, to tight ends, 90 to whoever, I forget the Ravens tight end is, and I think 2 touchdowns. So I'm really, really interested to see if that is truly their weak spot, and to see if that's where Aaron can kind of, almost feature, right? He spreads the ball around very well in all the games now that Devontae is not here, but kind of he features one player, it seems like, each week, and I'm kind of hoping it's Big Bob Tonyan.
Yeah, I was hoping for that last week. And Tonyan had a good game last week, but he didn't have a Dobbs. He didn't have a Dobbs game. Dobbs had a great game, and I'd love to see more of that. But yeah, to your point, like I want Romeo Dobbs to be super good. I want there to be a clear number one on this team. But what I don't want is that to become a crutch. I mean, we talked about it for years with Davante Adams, where Rodgers was just like, going to Davante. Throws to Davante in double coverage, even though he's got a wide open Allen Lazard. I mean, there have been times where he relied on Davante Adams so much that it was a huge issue in the game, or it would cost us a big play, or in some cases, it cost us the game. And I want to see that every week. I want to see somebody new getting featured every week. I think that's the way this offense gets acclimated. I think it's the way that they're able to beat teams, because if a team can't key in on one player, that just makes you harder to defend. So I'm excited to see that. I wonder who it's going to be this week. Maybe it'll be Big Bob. Maybe it'll be somebody else. Maybe Christian Watson comes back. I don't know. Maybe Allen Lazard finally has a big game. We will see.
Can I take us on a quick tangent?
Yes.
Am I a bad person for getting a little bit of enjoyment out of the Raiders being 0-3?
A bad person? No, certainly not. If you had said you were hoping for Davante Adams to be injured, then I'd say, yeah, that's
no.
No, I think we can be happy that the Raiders are 0-3.
I feel bad. I feel like I should be rooting for him. But I get a little bit of enjoyment seeing that they're struggling. I'm sure they'll turn it around, and I'm sure I'll be eating my words here in a few weeks. But
well, I mean,
come on, Devontae, come on back.
Yeah, I mean, historically, 0-3 teams don't typically make the playoffs very often. But that said, he didn't go there because he thought this was going to be a better team, right? He went there because he didn't think Aaron Rodgers was going to be a Packer for long. He didn't want his career in the hands of a Jordan Love or a rookie quarterback in the future. I mean, he wanted to be closer to where he grew up. So Las Vegas obviously is. We grew up in California. This wasn't about leaving the team because he thought he was going to have a better opportunity to win.
Why didn't he want his career in the hands of Jordan Love? Because he was afraid he'd start 0-3 when he started?
No, I mean, I think at this point in his career,
kidding.
Davante Adams wants to be a Hall of Famer, and he felt like his opportunities to get 1,000 yards or 10 touchdowns or 70 catches in a season, he didn't feel like that was going to be the opportunity. And my argument against that a little bit is I think he went to the Pro Bowl, or he was an All-Pro receiver the year that Brett Hundley was our starting quarterback for most of the season. You know what I mean?
Right.
So he still had an incredible season, even though it was somebody who I think is probably worse than Jordan Love. But anyways.
All right, tangent over. Sorry.
Tangent over. That's okay. All right, well, we talked about the offense for the Patriots. We talked a little bit about the defense. I want to talk a little bit about, I'll do this. I'll say this. On offense, I'm not going to pick a weapon. I'm not going to pick a receiver or running back for this game because I think the biggest challenge in this game is going to be the defense and two players in particular. The Patriots are like 5th in the league in the NFL with 10 sacks through 3 games, okay? Oof. 7 of those sacks are from 2 players, from Dietrich and Matthew Judon. I think the biggest test this week is probably going to be the right side of our offensive line against those 2 players. So basically Elton, Jenkins, and Royce Newman. Those are my players I'm picking this week. I think if they both play well and have a good game and can, let's give them 1 or 2 sacks. But if they can limit the pressures and limit the impact that those 2 have on the game, I think we're going to be okay on offense.
Yeah, and speaking of Elton Jenkins and Royce Newman, I posed the question in the last episode. David Bakhtiari is going to be coming back. The real test is, will he practice and will he play the next game? And it looks like he actually was a part of the walkthrough yesterday. They had Tuesday off, and Wednesday was their first kind of walkthrough. And Matt LaFleur said he wasn't going to play, and he wasn't going to practice. Excuse me. And he ended up practicing. So I think it's encouraging to see. I know Elton was technically out, I think, this last week, but it sounds, everything I'm hearing so far is that Elton Jenkins and Bakhtiari are indeed going to be playing, which I think is a huge win, on that offensive line.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, we'll see, but yeah, I mean, if these guys can continue to come back, it'll get acclimated every single week. And, hopefully by midseason that O-line is back to 100%. That would be an incredible game changer for the Packers for sure.
How much do you think coming back from such a hot game, and we had guys throwing up on the sideline, right? I mean, how much do you think, I know they had Tuesday off, like I just said. Like, do you think that impacts us? Does that carry through? Or are these guys, does that, are we good? Like, do you anticipate any kind of issues there health-wise?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I don't know if you ever played football. I did briefly, but I remember those 2 days. There was 100 degrees and it's 60% humidity and you just feel like crap, and maybe you throw up on the sideline or something like that. But I think when those guys got back, got rehydrated, they're going to be fine. I don't think that typically had a lot of carryover or anything like that. I'm not worried about the environment in Florida affecting them this week.
Right. Yeah. Awesome. Well, was there anything else you wanted to focus on in terms of keys to success or players, or do you want to get to our predictions?
Well, I mean, I think you mentioned it earlier, but I don't remember if this was your official pick. So you talked about Big Bob. Is he your pick for the week for players?
He's my official pick of the week. Lock it in. Like I said, this defense hasn't given up a lot to the receivers. It's the wideouts, I should say, but the tight ends they have. So we have a guy who we've seen, like, I feel like over the last 3 years, you've seen greatness out of Big Bob Tonyan. And, like, he just hasn't obviously the injury, right? But since the injury, we haven't seen any signs of that yet. So I would love it if this is the game, and this is the team to do it, right? Home game against a team that, at least last week gave up a lot of yards to the tight end.
Yeah, and on that note, can I just give a quick shout out? I forgot to do it in our last episode, but shout out to Schmitty, Tyler Davis. This is a guy who kind of just really sucked in preseason and hadn't shown much of anything the last couple of games, but he had a couple big catches last week. He didn't have any drops. I think he had 2 targets for 2 receptions, 26 yards. I think one of them was one or two of them may have both been first downs. They must have both been first downs probably.
Yeah.
But, he seems to be getting a little bit better, acclimating to the NFL a little bit better. I don't know that he's going to be a game changer for the Packers, but we've seen Rodgers throw to tight ends in times of need in the past. We remember Dominic Daphne having a couple big plays in the last couple of years. So I don't know, maybe by the end of the season, we'll have a strong tight end duo, or at least a guy who can help you out when you need it.
Yeah, I love it. All right, predictions.
Prediction time.
I think we both had the Packers beating the Patriots. Excuse me.